our two main concerns that came out of that was, number one, a complete free pass to Bill Blair and former RCMP Commissioner Brenda Lucki for their alleged political interference into the investigation. Of course, you will remember back then they wanted to have the information about what guns he used released because it sort of complemented their upcoming gun ban that they were trying to introduce. So that's wild to me that they got a free pass. And then the other thing was, almost word for word, the amendments that were withdrawn from C21, G4, and G46, almost word for word, they're in there. Like, shockingly close. There's no way it's a coincidence. And the idea that suggesting a full ban on semi-automatic handguns, rifles, and shotguns to legal owners would have had any effect on mitigating what happened in this horrible tragedy is absolutely false. There was also, they relied really heavily on anti-gun lobbyist information, an Australian professor, and totally ignored the Canadian data and the Canadian experts that we have here, like Dr. 𝐂𝐿𝐿 who's a very respected, very published expert on these issues. So he was denied access to testify before them or submit. So, yeah, I think we need a public inquiry into the public inquiry.
Yeah, well, they let Ralph Brown, a historian from Nova Scotia, get in there. I think he's from Nova Scotia. I don't really know. He's from out there someplace. And then an actual emergency room physician that has 4 peer-reviewed studies on the exact data that we needed to make an evaluation in this commission. They didn't let him get into, and it's funny because, so I got a couple things I just want to add really quick. So
sure.
It's funny because we're criticized for saying, hey, we're taking part in this commission or whatever. And then as soon as the report comes out, it's like, oh, this is garbage and, propaganda or whatever, right? Like Paulie was saying those things. And I think it's a point worth exploring. Well, that's because we're adults over here and we participated and did the best that we possibly could. We participated in good faith. I didn't approach being a participant there. It's like, yeah, well, this is just going to be a sham anyway. It's like, well, that's not the way to approach it. You assume goodness first and good faith. And then when you get to the end, you can see whether or not your suspicions were correct or not, right? So that's how that works for those that are a little bit maybe more simple-minded.
Remember, if you don't stand up for your own ability to own and use firearms, who will? Join the CCFR or donate right now at www.firearmrights.ca.